Speciesism. What is that? Well, it's a word. And if we ask Webster, everybody does that, the first usages date back to the year 1973. The word is defined as prejudice or discrimination based on species. The concept is based on the assumption of human superiority. Now, before you say stop, this is going to be another hipster's liberal, social justice, warrior garbage. Actually, the idea of speciesism has existed for at least 2,600 years. That's right, 2,600 years ago, the world's greatest philosophers of the age were writing about prejudices existing in society against non-human species in varying degrees. I recently recorded a passage about this and shared it on the web. Have a look.
In Chapter 8 of Lychee, we are introduced to a gentleman by the name of Mr. Tien. He's about to set off on a long journey, so invites his friends and relatives to come for a farewell banquet. As the dishes of fish and goose are brought in, Mr. Tien looks benignly on them and says, "How kind heaven is to humanity. It provides the 5 grains and nourishes the fish and birds for us to enjoy and use." In response to this quaint piece of anthropocentrism, everyone nods in agreement, except for a 12-year-old boy. He steps forward and says, "My lord is wrong. All life is born in the same way that we are, and we are all of the same kind. One species is not nobler than the other. It is simply that the strongest and cleverest rule over the weaker and more stupid. Things eat each other and are eaten, but they are not bred for this. To be sure, we take things which we can eat and consume them, but cannot claim that heaven made them in the first place just for us to eat. After all, mosquitoes and gnats bite our skin, tigers and wolves eat our flesh. Does this mean heaven originally created us for the sake of mosquitoes, gnats, tigers, and wolves?"
Now, that passage was taken from a book I've been reading, and it references a text that was directed at the followers of the Taoist way of life in ancient China. And there's a lot of irony in that because of all the examples we see today, the most powerful, I believe, originates from modern-day China. And it's the one that gets Western thinkers of all different backgrounds all riled up. I'm sure you've heard of it. They call it the Yulin Dog Meat Festival. And it's an annual event coming up this month in Yulin, 9 days from now, actually, at the time of this recording. People everywhere in cultures like the United States, in the UK, most of Western civilization get really upset about this. Now, puppies, the international symbol of cuteness and adorability, are not spared. Man's best friend, the most loyal beast that has ever been by our side through the ages, is boiled alive, roasted, dismembered, and hung indiscriminately from meat hooks for over a week at this place in the name of celebration. So why am I telling you about this? Why should you care? Well, I can't answer that question for you, but I find the idea of speciesism to be one of the most prevalent subject matters in today's international society. I'd like to specify that the goal of this video is not to vilify Chinese culture or their slaughter practices, but rather to illuminate a common thinking we all share on this topic, but see and articulate it from many different eyes. Where I'm from, in the United States, nationwide, upwards of 39 million cows are slaughtered every year. That's well over 100,000 cows per day. In India, for example, followers of the Hindu religion have worshipped the very same animal for thousands of years. It's sacred to them. They will not eat, let alone kill, any cows. followers of Judaism for a very long time have viewed the consumption of pig as not kosher, which is another way of saying that it's unfit for human consumption. And not because they worship pigs, but because they're disgusted by them. To give you an idea, the USA slaughters 2 to 3 times as many pigs as they do cows on an annual basis. So, obviously, someone has got the wrong information here. How can dogs be man's best friend in one part of the world where people go to prison for so much as physically abusing one of these animals, and yet countless of the very same animals are slaughtered for consumption on the other side of the world? Why are cows worshipped in India, yet treated as property and mindless vessels of meat almost everywhere else? Speciesism, ladies and gentlemen, a phenomenon existing within the human mind, causing us to view one animal as superior and more worthy of life than another. And which animals are superior depends on your geographical location. Now, it seems to me that racism is far more abstract an idea than this. In context of this conversation, it would be equivalent to proclaiming the superior coloration of the yellow Labrador and disdaining the less fortunate, unworthy Labrador born of brown hair. But you see, in Yulin, after they skin both breeds and toss them in a stew, the meat is the same. The organs are the same. So if we can agree that the yellow lab and the chocolate lab are the same species, and some of us feel that it is dreadfully inappropriate to slaughter and eat cats and dogs. Yes, they eat cats too. But at the very same time, we drive to McDonald's or your burger joint of choice and sit down with a fat, juicy hamburger, then you, my friend, are caught up in the endless hypocritical bind best known as speciesism. Perhaps someday soon we can finally agree that all peoples are equal in life as they are in death, but also that animals too should be granted the very same accommodation. Perhaps then we can elucidate these acts for what they truly are: horrific violence resulting in the unnecessary slaughter of innocent beings with which we humans share a common origin, a common ancestry, and our lonely cosmic home. We search for life elsewhere whilst we squander, oppress, and obliterate it everywhere we go on Earth. Hey, I want to thank you guys for watching my video. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you're interested in future work I do, I'm on all the social media platforms. And if you're watching me on YouTube, subscribing is not enough. Unfortunately, I'll probably get buried beneath all the other subscriptions you have. You have to click that little bell button next to the subscribe button to get notifications when I upload. Also, if you want to support me and what I'm doing here, I'm always looking to improve the quality of my work. Helping me out on Patreon is probably the easiest way you can do that. I can get new camera gear and really take my stuff to the next level. Hope to see you guys in the next video I put out. Peace out.